to This House of Walls. My name is Ashley, and on this channel I love to share all things homeschooling and books, and today is everything homeschooling. This is going to be kind of a combination December, how did our homeschooling month go, and also we have just finished the 18th week of our homeschool schedule, so we are officially halfway through. So it's going to be a little bit of a wrap up of how has our first half of our school year gone. So as always, pull up your favorite drink. I am still drinking my morning coffee, so I'm going to take a sip of that and let's dive in. So here on the table I have a bunch of different piles of things to just kind of talk about. We are excited to be now working towards the end of our school year. I think we're pretty on track. Luckily, I create my calendar in pencil because things change and we like having that flexibility. So here you can see that is our calendar. That is how we have it set up. So I just write the week number next to there. And then if we have a week off, I just kind of underline it. And again, all in pencil because this has changed multiple times from what I thought it would be at the beginning of the school year. But when I create it in the beginning, it's a guideline. But I think right now we are on track. So while I have my planner here, we do have some family words that we created at the beginning of the school year to bring with us along the way. And so our family word was thrive. And yes, I would say for the most part, we are definitely thriving. There's the occasional hiccup and kind of having to readjust. But overall, we are thriving. And then my oldest son's goal was being aware. And that's just being aware of himself and his feelings, being aware of his schoolwork and what needs to get done and how he can accomplish it and things like that. So just bringing awareness to a lot of different aspects with learning and emotions. And then for my third grader, his is making friends, and I think that he is definitely doing that. We had a fun semester at co-op and we're kind of in a break right now and about to start another semester, and he's always very excited to go to co-op and learn lots, but also to socialize. And then while I have my planner here, let's talk about the planner. I am loving this setup. So this is the School Nest Homeschool Planner that I chopped off the end and kind of made it my own a little bit, added some pages. I can link down below where I set it up, and it's working out wonderfully. I will say I don't really use these pages a lot. I keep track of the week, and then if we have any kind of activities that have to do with homeschool. So this, it's the week after New Year's, so we didn't have any extra activities. But in previous weeks, this is what it would look like, where we just have like a couple extra activities that we do during the week. And then I reverse plan, and I think I have a video that I can link down below about that and how I put it together and kind of structure it and can kind of keep track for myself how we are going. But I don't write it down in my planner unless we actually got to it that day. And so this is this previous week. We did a little bit of a wonky week and we schooled Tuesday through Saturday because then this coming week is going to be an off week, and so we're taking the whole week off. So you can see here I just have chunks broken down for each of my kids, and then anything extra that we do I can write down in the bottom, and this works out great. And then I do have an extra day. I think there's only been maybe like 2 or 3 weeks in this whole school year so far where we do have to kind of carry over some work onto the weekend and finish it. But for the most part, I'm just using the 5 columns. So my planner, I love it. This is working out fantastic. Another thing is my kids' planners. So for this year, I decided, you know what, we're just going to get a spiral notebook, and every morning or in the evening, I'm going to come into the schoolroom and figure out what needs to be done. Because again, our things change day to day. We might not get to everything that's on our planner that day. So I need that flexibility of then being able to move it to the next day. So this has worked out really, really great. All right, so this is for my 7th grader. So I just write down the day of the week and what needs to be done, and he can go through and mark it off. If he doesn't mark it off, I can go through and say, did you actually do this? And go from there. And then I also like having this little spiral notebook, because if there's any kind of extra little like paper or something that we want to keep, but we don't really have a place for it, we can glue it in here. So this was in October. We did a dissolving candy corn experiment. And so we did it, but then again, didn't have anywhere really for it to go. So we glued it in here. So these are definitely working out for us. My kids like being able to cross off everything and at the beginning of the day, see what needs to be done that day. So this is a win. All right, so then just to talk briefly with kind of December. December, we only schooled for 3 weeks, and then we took off. And while they were still doing a lot of their main curriculum, we did kind of pull it back on some things, like their main writing. I pulled in some fun writing activities that I found for free on Teachers Pay Teachers. And so that was kind of a nice little mix up to do some like holiday winter writing kind of things. And then just to talk specifically about each kid. So my 3rd grader, he, for the month of December, during our read aloud time, he reads a lot on his own. But I have a specific book that I want him to read aloud to me, just so that I know that he's reading the words correctly, that he's comprehending what he's reading, all things like that. And so he did finish The Secret Explorers and The Jurassic Rescue. He has really, really loved the series. This was the 4th and it's the last one that we have. So we'll see. I might get more for him just to kind of read on his own. I don't know if we will get 2 more in our school year. He's definitely wanting to get more and more into chapter books. So I'd like to kind of take and this one, it's pretty good. There's some fuller pages like this, but then there's also kind of like this. So I would like him to take just that little extra step into a little bit more words on the page and maybe a little less pictures, but he loves it. And then our read aloud was The Vanderbeekers of 141st Street. We had never read this before, and it was a fantastic, sweet, sweet read about a family in New York City whose landlord is going to not renew their lease, and so they're going to have to move. And it's family working together in the dynamics and the neighborhood working with them, and just really, really, really sweet story. So this was a great read. And then as for his curriculum, everything's been going well. We didn't make any big changes. I think he enjoyed doing some of the like little extra writing activities. But I will say this has been a win. So he has been doing cursive kickoff. And what I like about this is the beginning cursive handbook for handwriting without tears. But it really, really starts with a manuscript review. So I think probably the first half of the book is manuscript review, which is good. He needed a little more in it. But now he has just started cursive and is loving it. So you can see he's really having fun kind of figuring out how these letters connect, and that is very much so how his brain works, of like, how can I make this work? And so he's having a lot of fun with it. Then for my 7th grader, I don't know that there were any big changes in curriculum. I will say that he has been working on SaxMath, and I love SaxMath. I love how it's set up. I think that it's kind of no fuss math. You open the page, you do it. If you get it, you move on. And he was using Nicole the Math Lady, and so I think that was really nice too, to have just that extra video explanation of what was going on in the lesson. I will say he got to almost halfway through all the lessons and was just getting burnt out. Math is not his favorite thing in the world, and I'm okay with that. That's not a problem. He's not going to be a mathematician, so why are we really stressing about it? And so he and I went to our local homeschool store, and they were having a sale on used curriculum. And so we actually picked up Life of Fred. So this is the fractions one. We also did get the decimals and percents. It teaches math through a story. It's not, I don't think it's the most comprehensive math curriculum out there, but I think that it's really, really working for him. I think that we are kind of learning his style of learning, and he does well with kind of this like show me, tell me kind of way. And so he has been going through here, and he'll do a chapter at a time, which is a lesson, and he does the work on his own and checks it on his own and makes sure that he got everything correct and that he understands it. So he's really taking on the responsibility of his learning, which is going great. And then he gets to the bridges, which are kind of like the reviews, and he does the first 2 bridges, and as long as he gets 9 out of 10 questions correct, then he can move on to the next set of lessons. If he doesn't get 9 out of 10 correct on those 2 bridges, there's 3 other bridges that he can go and do and make sure that he really understands those concepts before he moves on. So for right now, this is working. I did see that there are like extra workbooks now that go with especially the like middle school and beyond levels. Maybe we'll add those in at some point, maybe not. Maybe this is just all that he needs. I want him to understand math. I'm not needing him to be like super fluent in it. And so I think that this is great. And then the only other thing that I think we're going to be changing, we had set aside IEW structure and style 1B. I stand by this curriculum that I think it's fantastic. I think it was just a little too much for him at the time. I think that some of the lessons can get really long. And even though I was breaking down like the video portions to 15 to 20 minutes, he was having to stop a lot and do work in those lessons. So I think we are going to be bringing this one back for the spring semester, and he's going to finish this up this year, because I think that having him be able to write a paper is so important in high school and for college, that I really, really need him to know how to write a good paper. And he needs to know how to do that. So I think that this definitely is a curriculum that will set him up to be able to do that. We are going to be changing it that instead of just measuring the lessons, by 15-minute increments on the videos, we're just going to set a timer, and wherever he is at the 15 to 20 minute time, we're going to pause, we're going to mark where he was, and he'll pick it up the next day. So we definitely don't finish a lesson a week, but that's okay, because I think that this is such a meaty curriculum that to break it up and just take it a little bit slower is fine. And then for books, so he has been doing Build Your Library. If you missed that update, I will try to link that below. If not, go find it on my channel. And that has been a win. I'm going to talk more about that in a second. But for the books that he read in December, he did read 2 independent readers. They are not part of Build Your Library. We decided to pull one of the books for Build Your Library because we had other books that we could fill in. And so he did read Summer of the Woods, the Virginia Mysteries Book 1. He has read this before, but it was a good reread for him. He really enjoyed it. And then he also read The Tiger Rising by Kate DiCamillo. And again, I think he really liked it. He had not read this one before, but enjoyed it. So I will say that this is definitely a win. We were struggling a little bit in the beginning of the school year to pick up books and read them. And having the structure of Build Your Library, of guess what, this is part of your curriculum that you have to pick up a book and read it, has been really helpful. And then our literature book for Build Your Library for December that we read together, and it's super, I love it. I love having that just one-on-one time with him to sit down and read a good book. But we read the Not So Boring Letters of Private Nobody by Matthew Landis. This, I went into it, yeah, it's a middle grade. We'll see how it goes. I really, really enjoyed it. I think it got a little bit long in the middle, but overall, there were some good middle school life lessons. I thought that the teacher in it was really funny. The kind of history and lesson that the main boy in this book had to learn about the Civil War just isn't about dates and battles. It was so much more about the people in the war. And so this one was fantastic. All right, and then just being halfway through our school year, I just wanted to showcase some curriculum for each of my kids that are absolute wins this year, and we love them. So I'm going to start with 3rd grade and showcase 2 curriculums. So the first is Writing and Rhetoric, Book 1. I've talked about this a little bit before in some of our monthly wrap-ups, but this has definitely been a win. Last year, he did the Well-Trained Mind writing curriculum, and while I think that's great, it definitely sets him up with copy work and having to summarize and things like that. This, I feel like, just takes it a little bit deeper, but it's still a gentle approach to it. So in this, we take a fable and we talk about the vocabulary of it. We talk about what the story means. We summarize it. We take a summary and we amplify it. He does copy work. He does dictation. So it just has all of those elements, but in one curriculum. And so we are really, really enjoying this. And then our next is 3rd grade Math with Confidence. This is no surprise. This is a curriculum that we love. I wish that they had these out sooner for my oldest child. Again, a gentle approach to math that has so much to it. Yeah, we're learning multiplication facts right now, and it's not pulling teeth at all. He's learning it through games, through different scenarios of, say you're going to go shopping and you have to buy this many of this many. Yeah, so it's just a very great, gentle approach. I will say I think we're a little behind this curriculum to be able to finish it on time, so there's going to be some extra days that we're not doing schoolwork, and I'm going to pool it in and just knock out a lesson quickly. Actually, I'm going to be doing that today. We're not doing school today, but we're going to do a math lesson. He is almost done with Book A, and then we'll be moving to Book B. And then for my 7th grader, there's been a lot of changes in his curriculum this year. He's newly diagnosed ADHD, and so there's just adjusting to figure out what will work best for him. But these, as of right now, are working fantastic. So he is doing level 6 of Build Your Library American History Part 2. He just finished week 6. He will not finish this school year, but that's okay because I know that American history comes back around again, and he frequently likes to pick up history books or watch YouTube videos or anything like that, learning history anyways. And so I know that if he's not getting it in this curriculum, he can get it elsewhere, and he'll get it again in high school. So this is going really, really well. The system that we have for him to see what he needs to do every day and kind of put his work into, everything like that is working really, really well. We are liking the books that have been chosen for this curriculum so far. So this is a definite win. And then next is his grammar. So he is using 2 different elements here. So the first is Fix-It Grammar. He is doing book 4, which is Mowgli and Shere Khan. And yeah, we really like it. This is his 2nd year doing it. And I think that it helps that he had a good, strong background of grammar before he picked this book up. I will say, I think my 3rd grader wants to start Fix-It Grammar next year, but I think that we're also going to do another grammar curriculum alongside this. But that being said, he is really, really enjoying it. We have actually just gotten to the point where, all right, so in previous weeks, you can see he had to mark a lot of things in here, and it was getting to be a lot because there's still things being added onto it. This past week, it got rid of those things, a lot of them, and is just pointing out the main parts of the sentence or sentences that he needs to mark. And so that has been a nice breather, that while it's still important and in-depth, it's not having to mark all the nouns and all the verbs and everything like that. So that has been a great win. Along with Fix-It Grammar, I have started him on sentence diagramming. We're just doing the beginning book. This is by the Critical Thinking Company. Again, he has a little bit of a background in sentence diagramming, but he hasn't done it in maybe 2 years. But he remembered enough of it that he is able to pick this up, and he does this once a week. He'll do a whole lesson, which I think is like 4 pages. And it's just another good thing that he can pick up and see how a sentence is structured and what goes into a sentence and how it is formed. And so this has definitely been a win. All right, so that is what we have. December was definitely a good month. It was nice to kind of still have the structure, but make it a little less. And then it's always nice to, at the halfway point of the school year, see where we are, how we're doing, are we on track? And I think that for the most part, we are on track. There's a couple things that we need to just kind of speed up a little bit, but it works. I have adjusted our schedule to take into account things that we have coming up in classes and co-ops and things like that for the spring semester. And so I think that just having a better fitting schedule means that we will have the opportunity to really make sure that we are consistently hitting all of the points in our curriculum. That being said, if you like these types of videos or anything else that I post on this channel, make sure to like and subscribe down below, and I will be back for more soon.